Well, let's get more now, and we can speak to Tommaso Della Longa, who is a spokesperson for the IFRC, that is the International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. Just how much aid is managing to get through the Rafah crossing to your people on the ground?
Thanks for having me tonight. The aid that is arriving at the moment is, sincerely speaking, a drop in the ocean. We are talking about, I would say, around 60 trucks since last Saturday. Of course, we welcome this as a positive sign, a sign of hope. But then compared to the needs of more than 2 million civilians, 60 trucks, again, it's a drop in the ocean. Needs are way bigger than what 60 trucks can bring inside Gaza Strip.
Sure. And how are your teams managing to operate there on the ground? Because I'm assuming the conditions are, for them, extremely dangerous.
They're extremely dangerous and they're also overwhelmed. I mean, I have to say that in the Red Cross and Crescent network, the IFRC is typically working through our national society. So in this case, the Palestine Crescent, and we're talking about volunteers and staff who are from Gaza, trained to respond to any emergency. Of course, we never thought really of such a large-scale emergency, but then they're doing their utmost in hospitals, in psychosocial center, with the ambulances service, with the even humanitarian aid. But then after 14 days, what they're telling us is that simply overwhelmed, tired, and also affected themselves. So we're talking about stories where doctors are finding out that their brother or sister, or even their son, daughter, passed away, and they found it only when the body arrived in the hospital. So you can imagine how much the situation can be complex.
Yeah, and it must be extremely distressing for them. And they're doing all of these things without any fuel as well, and presumably they got vehicles to get from A to B. I mean, have they completely run out now?
Well, it's really a matter of hours, and this is why we are calling to have an access of humanitarian aid, including fuel inside Gaza. Fuel inside Gaza means life, means electricity for fuel for generators, then electricity for hospitals, fuel for vehicles, fuel for ambulances, and also fuel for water and water sanitation. So it's really critical to get fuel inside Gaza. And I mean, today from Al-Quds Hospital, from the hospital in Khan Yunis, they were telling us it's a matter of hours, probably a couple of days. And then they will not have any more electricity, which of course it will impact heavily the people who are in the intensive care unit, babies in generators, and so on.
Sure. I mean, we saw a report of babies on incubators in a whole lot of different hospitals, and without electricity, of course, they will have no more life support and will most likely die. And we've heard that Gaza's hospitals, you're confirming that really, are on the brink of collapse. They've got limited supply of everything, and at the same time as that, they've got this unprecedented level of demand, haven't they?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, the picture that our colleagues are telling us from Gaza are empty shelves of medicine or medical supplies, surgeries without painkillers, which of course is awful. I cannot even think about that. And then hospitals full of internal displaced people. I mean, we're talking about only in our hospitals, something around 10 or 12,000 displaced people who sought refuge in the hospital just because they think it's a safe place. But of course, this is not a sustainable situation where people, there are patients in the room, people sleeping in the middle of the corridors, in a situation where food, water, medicine are really scarce.
Now, I know you're not a political person, but I just want to ask you what difference it makes if at the UN they're arguing, at the UN Security Council, they're disputing a ceasefire versus a humanitarian pause. Does one or other of those make a particular difference as far as you're concerned?
Every effort that can bring some hours of pausing the fighting or every stop of the fighting, of course, will make a great difference on the people of civilians and healthcare workers in Gaza Strip. Then we can have different tools and different political decisions. And as you said, I'm not the one who needs to take this decision, but we're calling on every stakeholder, every partner, every party to really take in account the protection of civilians and healthcare workers and take in account that we need a safe space to do our work. network. It's not enough to open a door, a border, and bring a couple of trucks or some trucks inside the Gaza Strip. We need to have a safe place, a safe humanitarian space where humanitarian workers can operate and deliver humanitarian aid, and civilians can feel safe to take this humanitarian aid. So we really hope that every diplomatic effort will bring to this safe space and safe avenues and a place where people are in safety to receive humanitarian aid.
Okay, well, thank you very much indeed for taking the time to speak to us. Tommaso Della Longa, spokesperson for the IFRC. Thank you very much indeed.